There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of laps around Las Vegas in the supercar, on board with the 15 of Scott Rankin. Lost a couple of spots where we're on board with him then, but that gave you a little bit of an insight on what it's like driving a supercar around an oval. It's a different beast. It's hard enough to drive on a road. I'll tell you what, they're a lot of fun around the oval as we're on board there with Scott Rankin. But tell you what, there was really a bit of contact there. But one thing I noticed there, Ryan, I don't know if you did, but keeping it in fifth gear, didn't want to select that sixth gear in that draft to try and save a bit of fuel, just keeping it in fifth gear.
Yeah, that's correct. And I did notice that there was a bit of a contact between Scott Rankin and one of the Pinnacle eSports cars. However, it does not look like there has been much issue with the contact, and he is actually chasing them back down. And he's looking very racy tonight, so if he can get higher up in the order, then he'll have a nice solid race.
Yeah, he will. He'll be there or thereabouts, no doubt. He's having a bit of a yo-yo effect at the moment, as we've got a lineup on the inside. It's a Sim Boys lineup on the inside. They've finally got in a train together. So watch these guys work together, and you'll see the Sim Boys guys are Todd Maxfield, Gary Wellman, Nicholas Walsh possibly make their way, but then Nigel Payton's gone, no boys, I can see you coming. He's just dropped to the below line. And as I say that through 3 and 4, he's gone, I'm going outside line. So that's going to allow the Sim Boys on the inside. So Pinnacle eSports on the outside line at the moment. Sim Boys racing on the inside line. Raymond Yeager and Aaron Dillon out front at the moment by themselves. But this is team versus team at the front of the Las Vegas, round 10, at Las Vegas for 134 laps with 35 into 134. Team versus team at the front. Don't write off any of the other drivers. Ash Nessa in 14th. Lockie Capel, very capable driver, pardon the pun, there in the 13th position. You can see Ash Nessa there. He's just off the back, or he's about 10 seconds off the back of the battle pack for the lead. The battle pack for the lead at the moment is 13 drivers, Lachlan Capel being the last one of that as we're on board with him there. So definitely a lot more action to come here. 36 into 134. Ryan, this might be the time, mate, that we jump in as the drivers settle down. We're about to go into the first round of green flag pit stops, if we do get green flag. Might be the first time that your first time up here commentating here on the IndySim Esports Network, and I must say, mate, you're doing an absolutely sensational job. But you can take over my role and give the viewers a bit of a trivia question here. Let's bring in a bit of trivia as we watch the boys navigate 37 of 134 here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of trivia questions here at the moment about Las Vegas Super Speedway.
Fire away, mate.
Okay, trivia question number 1. How many different circuits are part of Texas Motor Speedway?
Texas. So we're at Las Vegas and we're asking a Texas question. That's right.
Las Vegas.
We'll just quickly, we'll hold that a second because we nearly had an incident. We've gone 3 or 4 wide there into turns 3 and 4, or into turns 1 and 2. That was really close there between Raymond Yeager, Aaron Dillon and Todd Maxfield. So sorry, mate, to cut you off there. We will come back to that one, but I saw it getting very spicy. So the Pinnacle eSports guys have now dropped down to the inside line. They're all trying to find their position at the moment. It's a little bit of tic-tac-toe as we're 3 wide down the main straight. They're trying to get into position to help their teammates, but everyone's trying to cover each other off to try and not allow that to happen. That's allowing the likes of Lockie Capel at the back there. He's now made a move on Christopher Finlay. This just allowing those cars from probably around about the 8th or 9th position back to just keep in touch with this front group. Have a look at Andy Barber now. He's up into 7th position. He was down in 11th or 12th earlier. He's making that outside lane work in the number 5 Southern Stars Esports racing entry. But we'll go back to you, Ryan. What is your trivia question, mate? You can ask a Texas question. Trivia is trivia. We can do that. That's no worries at all.
Yeah, that was actually just me mucking up the words there. I have about 10 trivia questions here about Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And so Las Vegas Speedway has a certain amount of other circuits as a part of the facility, and how many tracks are a part of the facility?
Good question. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's your question by the young man Ryan Barber tonight. Question number 1 for the most important part of the night, the useless InterSim Esports Network trivia, as we've got a really nice battle at the front here. This is definitely starting to heat up. But I'll quickly get this question out. I'll repeat the question. How many track layouts do they have at Las Vegas Speedway? So obviously they've got some road layouts, etc. that they can use. So if you're tuning in here on the chat on the InterSim Esports Network, let us know, and let us know what you think the answer is to that one. I'm sure Ryan's got the answer, but it still is Raymond Yeager, Todd Maxfield, Aaron Dillon, and Greg Spencer leading the way. Tell you what though, Paul, you can jump into this one as well, mate. I know you're on the cameras, mate, but how did you find the start of this race? I tell you what, it's ding-dong battle at the front. It's exactly what we come to expect for the RayWhite Rule Gayndah Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries.
Yeah, not too sure. I thought we might have seen Raymond maybe go a little bit too hard too early, possibly, as we've seen before. So I wonder how those tyres are sitting under that car out the front there, as he's led most of the way. Bit of an unfortunate start there for Ruben Phelps as well, as we'd said, and he was looking pretty racy as well, so I'm not too sure what happened there. As we've said, that didn't grab on what happened there. We did see him give the outside wall a bit of a kiss, but yeah, it's definitely a Pinnacle and Simboys battle at the front there, and they've got the majority of their cars up there. Justin Witcher's now up in that top 5 there, and Scotty Rankin back in 11th, so Scotty Rankin's definitely going to want to be pushing his way forward. But he could still be sitting back there. They could still be saving a bit of tyres, as Steve Hoppert said there, about 67 laps of a tyre set, so that's possibly what their fuel run looks like maybe there, Steve. So maybe 67 laps on a tank. You know, we're going to see probably 2 stops at this race, and see who takes those tyres in that last stop for the last sort of 15 odd laps maybe.
Yeah, and I think our Facebook stream dropped out because all the comments are gone. It's like it's gone back up 4 minutes ago. So if you are tuning in, I can see you're watching. Let us know whether that did drop out and we've come back again, because that's really interesting. But it still is Raymond Yeager leading the way. Greg Spencer looking racy on the outside, not looking to stay. Oh, as Raymond Yeager just comes down, he's looking to go into pit lane. And it looks like the Simboys entries are following him as well. So let's see who's in. Raymond Yeager, Todd Maxfield, Aaron Dillon into pit lane. I tell you what, Raymond Yeager did a good job pulling the car up there, but that's allowed Greg Spencer. And have a look at this. Your reigning champion and current series leader, Justin Witcher, up into the 2nd spot as they're about to go through the first green flag pit stop cycles run.
Yeah, I would actually expect them to be pitting within the next 1 or 2 laps, if not now, but it does look like they're actually passing pit lane entry, so I would assume that they'll be going on a bit longer. But there has been 10 other cars that hasn't come into the pit lane, so they are also expected to come in. And yeah, Justin Witcher's just taking the lead.
Yeah, we see that because the likes of Justin Witcher and Greg Spencer, they held back in the draft a little bit earlier. Raymond Yeager was the man setting the pace at the front. He used all the fuel, so he was always going to come in and be a lap or 2 before his teammates. But tell you what, the teammates, they don't want to work together, do they? We've got Greg Spencer still trying to hold it on the outside of Justin Witcher. I'd be in behind trying to work with each other a little bit and get a little bit more fuel out of it. But there's no team orders here from Pinnacle Esports Racing, as Justin Witcher still trying to get the job done on Greg Spencer. He's going to get that done through turns number 1 and 2 this time around, but it's allowed Gary Wellman to just pull that gap in, and Nicholas Walsh there in the 3rd and 4th position, as Justin Witcher and Greg Spencer had a little bit of a fight for the lead of the motor race. So now we've got more pit stops coming in. We can see that now. Not sure who that was in the background. We'll see as they come in. So Andy Barber's come into pit lane, as has Ash Nessa, Greg Spencer, Gary Wellman, Nicholas Walsh, Scott Rankin, Lockie Cable, Christopher Finlay, and Andy Barber, I just said that, sorry, in pit lane. So the only 2 drivers yet to come into pit lane is Justin Witcher and Pete Matson. So
yeah. And it does look like Ash Nessa has parked it, because live timing says he's out of the race. And Lachlan Cable's coming out the pit lane as well, so he'll be coming back out on track. It looks like to be in 3rd, it told me just then.
Yeah, it's looking like it. We'll just wait and see what happens when the likes of, so Justin Witcher and Pete Matson's now come into pit lane as well. So this will be your first green flag pit stop cycle. We'll see where they come out. Raymond Yeager came in the lead of the motor race, first one to blink into pit lane under green flag conditions. So we'll see where that puts Raymond Yeager when Pete Matson, Justin Witcher, Lockie Capel, Scotty Rankin, Greg Spencer, everyone in pit lane at the moment. We'll see where that puts them. I believe Raymond Yeager will get a good little jump here with Aaron Dillon over the rest of the field if they've used the new tyres. If not, though, they might be running a short stint here you've got 51 laps, so it's actually not really a short stint on the double stint of tyres. So we'll see how that plays out as Greg Spencer is out of pit lane at the moment. So he takes the lead of the motor race. So Greg Spencer, he's in front of Aaron Dillon, Todd Maxfield, Gary Wellman. You can see them all in behind Greg Spencer. Not quite far enough to break that toe, so don't be surprised if we see the likes of Aaron Dillon, Todd Maxfield and Raymond Yeager range right up onto the back of Greg, and here we are, we're about to see it. Justin Witcher, though, you're seeing the gap drop down, so it looks like Justin Witcher and Pete Matson are making their way out of pit lane. Where will they fall in this little battle, as you'll see them catch up to them on the back straight here? So you can see Justin Witcher and Pete Matson in front of this battle. So Justin Witcher is the best of the pit stops actually through that green flag run. He's got a gap now. It's only 0.7 of a second over Pete Matson, further 2.3 seconds down the road to Greg Spencer. So some good strategy there called there, Ryan, from Justin Witcher, but we'll see how that plays out in the second lot of pit stops, because we'll go through and we'll let you know their stationary time in pit lane to let you know their strategy. So Justin Witcher, stationary 30.5 second, Pete 5.7. Pete Matson stationary for 30.35. Then everyone else, Greg Spencer, all the way down to your 13th place of Ash Nessa, we're in the 34 to 35 second pit stop time. So that's where the jump came from Justin Witcher. But that 4 or 5 seconds, he's going to have to give that back later on, because the other drivers, they're going to be able to do a quicker stop later on in this race. So very, very important little stint here by Justin Witcher and Pete Matson.
Yeah, it does look like, I feel like Pete Matson and Justin Witcher didn't take tyres in last stop, so that's a bold strategy call to make to double stint those tyres. And as we see Greg Spencer in a 3-wide battle, and that's actually...
Yeah, so Raymond Yeager is the one on the outside line. Aaron Dillon giving him a little bit of a hip and shoulder there through 1 and 2. Greg Spencer just in behind Aaron Dillon. So these guys, this is the battle for the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th and 7th position on the racetrack at the moment, with Gary Wellman being the 7th one there. Andy Barber, he's a further 0.7 of a second behind this little battle. You can see him there, so don't be surprised. We'll see Andy Barber, Nicholas Walsh and Christopher Finlay range up onto the back of this battle. But Justin Witcher and Pete Matson, they've got 2.6 seconds the better at the front, but we'll stay on this battle because this is where we need to be. Or as we go to Pete Matson, sorry, that's my fault, Paul. I threw you under the bus there. My apologies, mate. But yeah, Aaron Dillon, Raymond Yeager, Todd Maxfield, Greg Spencer, Gary Wellman, soon to be Andy Barber and Nicholas Walsh, and Christopher Finlay's probably a further second off the back of this one as well. So this is where the battle is at the moment. We'll just keep an eye though, and we'll keep you informed on the gap between first and second to this little battle. It is slowly eking out, so it's now 3.09 seconds, 3.1 seconds. So this is a very interesting part of this motor race to see what happens in the back end. I tell you what, it's a little bit like Test cricket, Ryan. You wait there for 5 days, and just like today, it can come down to the last over or two, and this is exactly what speedway racing does, especially here in the supercar for the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. It's calm before the storm, 57 into 134. It's settling down now, but I tell you what, I'm about to get very vocal in about 35 minutes time, I suggest. So Pete Matson going for the pass now on Justin Witcher. Sorry, that is Justin Witcher. Yeah, Pete Matson going for the pass on Justin Witcher. So Pete Matson wants to lead a lap. We've got some headlights flashing from Brett Campbell. I think Brett Campbell's got his flashlights on for every time he talks. So he'll be talking to someone. That's not him flashing the championship leader, but Brett Campbell looking racy on the outside. He is a lap or two down. He's actually 18 laps down. So He's probably not want to get involved in this little battle. He's going to be quick. He's going to have fresh tyres. But tell you what, Ryan, I don't know if you've watched a lot of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Pete Matson, he's had a podium. He's had one podium. He is the naming rights sponsor of the RayWhite Royal Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries. One podium under his belt in his second season. He's come forward in leaps and bounds, and he's given Justin Witcher a little bit of a run at the front of this one, but the more they're doing this is allowing that battle for third to just range up on the back. Last lap around, it's gone down to 2.5 seconds, and I can see it on my live timing. It's dropping rapidly.
Yeah, Peter's actually giving Justin here a run for his money, so we'll see how this sorts itself out. And hopefully he can actually take the lead, because I think he's doing an awesome job throughout the season. He deserves another win, but it's only 60 laps out of 134, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And Troy Mortensen jumping in saying, come on, Andy, get up there, son. But we'll go back to your question, because we did drop out. So your question was, Ryan, why don't you remind all the viewers, our useless InterSim Esports Network trivia, as we do, remind all the viewers of what your question was. And the viewers, if you're tuning in, be sure to give us your answer, because I'm not sure you actually get anything for getting it right, but you get bragging rights, as Aaron Dillon gets very close there. But just to remind all the viewers, what was your question tonight for the viewers here for the InterSim Esports Network trivia?
Hey guys, the trivia question was actually how many circuits Las Vegas Motor Speedway actually has, including the oval which we're racing now.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Ryan's question for the night is Las Vegas Motor Speedway. How many layouts does it have, whether it be oval or road? Don't Google it. Yeah, I've got to answer it too. I know that, Ryan. I do have to answer. I've got Paul saying I've got to answer it. He only wants me to answer it because he wants to throw me under the bus. He's laughing in my ear. But I'll answer it in a minute. But ladies and gentlemen, how many track layouts does Las Vegas Speedway have? So I can tell you first, Ryan, I have absolutely no idea. As per usual, I am full of useless information. Anyone that's known me on this stream for a long time knows I'm full of useless information. I even get it wrong. Yeah, it's all about people in the stand. I'm sure Derek Jacobs not in tonight too, so he can't see Samantha in the stand. He can't wave to her as he goes past. But anyway, back to the serious stuff. Las Vegas, mate, I'm going to say 4. 4 is my answer.
And that's actually incorrect.
You can't tell the answer though, because we've got to have all the people on the stream to tune in and tell us what they think the answer is. So if you are tuning in, how many layouts they are. But thank you for telling me I was incorrect. So
hey, I've got to jump in here too.
You just now know the answer isn't 4, but don't Google it. We've got Paul jumping in as Pete Matson's leading the way over Justin Witcher and Raymond Yeager. Lap 64 of 134, Paul.
Well, I think Ryan's done a doozy on us. He's given us a trick question. There's only one layout.
Well, I knew that. I was thinking it was only oval, but I thought, is it like, do they have a road one in there anywhere? I don't know. So I just thought I'd throw something in there. So anyway, I think we've just given the viewers an answer that there's only one, an oval. Is that correct, Ryan?
That is incorrect.
Oh, Paul, there you go, mate. So we're both as useless as each other. So there we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in on the InterSim Esports Network, let us know. Tune into the comments. We'll give you another 5 minutes, but we'll go back to the lead of the motor race. We've got Raymond Yeager there, in the third position. He's trying to make the move on his teammate of Justin Witcher, but Pete Matson doing a great job at the front, leading the way. Those Pinnacle Esports guys, they've sort of ranged together now, just trying to drag away from the SimBoys cars, but that's not going to last too long, especially with the likes of Todd Maxfield, Gary Wellman, Aaron Dillon in behind this battle as well. Andy Barber, though, he's 1.7 seconds off the back of this little battle. So Andy's lost a little bit of pace. He's outside the draft now, so he's going to want to make his way up sooner rather than later, as in the next... Well, we're actually just clicked over halfway through this motor race, right?
Yeah, it could actually be a factor of his tyres, but we never really know what's happening with the strategy, as we have a driver coming into the pit lane. That looks like
Brett Campbell.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how everything.
Ryan, if with your commentary, with the commentary, don't take any notice of Paul. He talks in your ear. Just keep talking, mate. It's fine. But Raymond, Raymond is the voice in your head. Raymond Yeager, Greg Spencer, Maxfield, Witcher, Matson, rather, your 5. But we've got Matt Payton and Troy. They've come into the chat, and Matt Payton reckons the answer to your question, so they just remind everyone watching, the question was, how many track layouts, whether it be road or oval, does Las Vegas Speedway have? Matt Payton into the chat, he said 6, Ryan, and Troy Mortensen has jumped in and he has said 7. So we know I was wrong with 4, and Paul's always wrong when he got his wrong with 1. So what a shot there on John Class from the front, the Doritos. Hope Doritos is paying him a bit of money, but he's about to go another lap down as the leaders go around. He's just smacked the wall. Grinding. So that's a good time to go on board. His side of his car is actually going to look like a crinkled Doritos packet, I reckon, on the right-hand side of that car. But anyway, Ryan, keep the suspense, stop the suspense. How many track layouts does Las Vegas Speedway have?
Shall I reveal the answer? Or...
Yes, mate.
There's actually 9 layouts.
9 layouts. So Matt Payton technically got it wrong. He just put the 6 the wrong way up. So
yeah, technically.
Yeah, he got it right. Yeah, same. So 9 layouts. That's really interesting as the battle is really heating up. Have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're talking about trivia. We're just going through the little bit of the dull before the storm at the moment, but the battle at the front is on again. Greg Spencer, Raymond Yeager, Justin Witcher, Pinnacle Esports 1, 2, 3. Scotty Rankin back a part of this one on that outside line. He's still wanting that outside line to work, and he's just staying there. So Scotty Rankin there, Pete Matson, Aaron Dillon, Nicholas Walsh and Christopher Finlay. That's the battle that you can see on screen right now, ladies and gentlemen. So it still is a 10-car battle for the lead of the motor race. We're 72 into 134. So looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. But Ryan, the old man currently, he's sitting about 4 seconds now off the back of the top 10. He's obviously got a different strategy going on there, or just lost a little bit of the draft. From what you see early on in this one, well, it's not really early on, but what you see 73 into 134. How do you see this one playing out? Is there a dark horse you can see there that you think is going to come through and possibly get the win, or is it who do you think is going to get the W in this one? And I'll second that too, Ryan, before you answer that question. Everyone tuning in on the InterSim Esports Network, let us know who you think is going to get first, second and third in this one. We love seeing you talk to us here on the InterSim Esports Network. But Ryan, who do you think is going to get the chocolates tonight here for round number 10 at Las Vegas?
Yeah, it's a bit tough to actually say because anything can really happen within the next 60 laps here. But there could be a lot of strategy playing here with some people trying not to use as much tyres. But that is pretty much a Pinnacle 1, 2, 3 at the moment with Todd Maxfield getting in between and trying to break them up. So if anything can really happen, I feel.
Well, that was I tell you what, Ryan, when you finish school, mate, you should become a politician, because that was the most non-answered question, even though it was a very good answer. You didn't actually, you've got to throw yourself under the bus. Me and Paul, we usually select one and we're always wrong. But I tell you what, be a politician, mate. You did a good job there. You went all the way around. But you are exactly right that Pinnacle Esports at the front of the motor race, they're having a great job, or having a great run at the moment. But those Sim Boys entries, there's only 2 of them now in this battle at the front, Ryan. So we noticed earlier there was 4 of them, but now they're just starting to break away from the pack behind. So if we talk race in numbers, it's Pinnacle Esports 3, Sim Boys 2, as Pinnacle Esports guys nearly get into each other through turns number 3 and 4. But I'm still keeping one eye on the second place getter in the championship so far in this penultimate round, Scotty Rankin there on the outside line, and how these guys are racing at the front. Scott's probably in the best position at the moment, as is Pete Matson, because if something goes pear-shaped in front, these guys are going to be in the prime position to take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not even lap 80 yet, so with these guys fighting pretty hard, I assume that they'll be hoping not to burn too much tyre to make it to the end. And which are not taking tyres at the last stop, I assume. It could come out as come out to help them later in the race if there's a safety car.
Yeah, most definitely. I think we'll take this opportunity, though, ladies and gentlemen. We are 76 into 134. Brett Campbell tuning in. He goes, wish I could get a race where I don't get taken out. We will we'll come back to you shortly, Brett, and have a chat to you. Let us know what happened in your race. But let's go on board with the naming rights sponsor driver. It is the RayWhite Royal Gayndah entry of Pete Matson. Turn up your screen, turn up your volume. We'll have a little bit of a 5-minute intermission and allow you to enjoy Pete Matson driving the RayWhite Royal Gayndah 173 supercar here around Las Vegas on the InterSim Esports Network. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of laps on board with the with the 173 of Peter Matson from RayWhite Royal Gayndah there. Good to see him part of the series. But tell you what, they're really working those tyres and working those cars. Let's take the opportunity though, Ryan. Brett Campbell tuned into the chat. Let's bring him down into the broadcast booth and let the viewers know, have a chat to him and see what happened with his race tonight. So we'll just try and bring him down into the broadcast booth. So we've got him down into the broadcast booth at the moment. Brett Campbell, mate, unfortunate start to your night. We can see on the chat that not very happy with how that one happened. What happened to your race, mate? Out early, not the way that you would have wanted to see the 015 in this one.
Oh, mate, just silly mistakes, buddy. People not respecting other people with room, and yeah, one of those days, so to speak.
Well, we can tell in your voice that you're a little bit disappointed with your results tonight. We know that you'll get back out there and have a run next week and keep going. But what happened at the start? We saw Ruben had a bit of an issue. Tristan Koch did as well. We'll bring him up into the broadcast booth shortly and have a chat to him. But we didn't really see an incident come up on our screens. We saw a little bit of tank slappers down the back stretch, and then we just saw a bit of damage. What did it look like from your point of view? Give the viewers an insight of what happened, because we didn't quite catch it on the screen.
Well, the first incident was Ruben. I don't know what happened with him, because he was still way further up the road from me. But all of a sudden I had this car running against the wall in front of me. But we managed to get through that one unscathed. But the second one, I actually got clipped on the back end of the car and fishtailing up the back straight there for a bit. So once again, not really 100% sure what happened there. I do know that Ruben was involved in it, but other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Well, unfortunate anyway for you tonight, mate. The 015, looking solid early. You're up inside the top 8. It was looking like a pretty good run for the 015, but we wish you all the best, mate. Look forward to seeing you out for the final round next week for the Australasian SUPERCARS eSeries. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, boys.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The 015 of Brett Campbell making himself available. Always good to have the drivers have a chat, Ryan. But Yeah, we didn't quite catch that one, but Brett didn't sound very happy with how his night went. Aaron Dillon's watching too. Aaron, unfortunate night for you, mate. Not sure what happened to you, but you're up fighting for the lead and now you're watching, so I take it you're out of this race as well. So feel free to jump in Discord and we can have a chat to you as well. But it still is Greg Spencer, Todd Maxfield and Scotty Rankin, your top three at the moment as we're 87 into 134 here for round number 10. Ryan.
Yeah, that's correct. And speaking about Brett not being too happy with what's been happening during the race, while we were going on board with Pete Matson, I actually ran out into the living room and saw what Dad was doing, and he's actually been held up by a lap car, which is why he has fallen back away from the pack.
Okay, so lap traffic, a bit of an incident there, but no doubt there's still a lot of time to go as Justin Witches come into pit lane, ladies and gentlemen. So your championship leader in pit lane is the first one to blink, 88 into 134. Gary Wellman's decided it's his time as well. So watch out. Here's the undercut, we think, ladies and gentlemen, but they're going to have a little bit of a longer pit stop than what they did in the first one because they had a shorter pit stop. The likes of, I'm not sure whether Gary did in the first one or not, but 31.55 seconds now, the transition time for Justin Witcher. So we're still at the front of the motor race. It is Greg Spencer still leading the way. He's got Todd Maxfield all over the back of him. Scott Rankin in the third position. He's going to want to use this draft and try and get as many quick laps as he can to try and cover off on Justin Witcher. Like I said, if he wants anything to do with this championship, if he wants to have his say, he needs to beat Justin Witcher tonight to bring it to the final round next week for round number 11. So we'll see what happens here with Scott Rankin. They're slowly making a gap there on Christopher Finlay last time around, though. They were about 2/10 of a second. Sorry, it's just updated. No, they were about 2/10 of a second slower than Christopher Finlay. So the more these guys battle, it's going to allow Christopher Finlay to drag up onto the back of this one, as well as you can see Andy Barber. He's coming out of pit lane. You can see him just on the bottom there. So Andy's done his last transition through pit lane. He's good to go to the end. But when's Greg Spencer, Todd Maxfield, Scott Rankin, Christopher Finlay, Pete Matson and Raymond Yeager going to decide to do their last compulsory pit stop for tonight, right? Ryan?
Yeah, and I've actually noticed that Andy Barber's pit transit stop time was actually quicker than Justin Witcher's, so that does say something.
And Greg, sorry to cut you off there, Ryan. I know you just brought you into the chat, but Greg Spencer and Raymond Yeager's decided to come into pit lane together, so the teammates have come in together. That's given Scott Rankin the lead of the race. He's got a nice little gap of about 1.5 seconds over Christopher Finlay, Todd Maxfield and Pete Matson. So there's only 4 drivers at the moment that still have to do their compulsory pit stop, and that is Rankin, Maxfield, Finlay and Matson in the first 4. Lockie Capel here, he's having a nice little ding-dong battle. He's in a Simboy sandwich. He's on the inside. He's got, just got to update, he's got Gary Wellman and Christopher Finlay there, but he's got that job done. Sorry, it's see how live timing throws me under the bus there, Ryan. You can see it going crazy on your screen. Greg Spencer is out of pit lane at the moment. Raymond Yeager still in pit lane. He's out now. So about a 2-second stop difference there by the teammates of Greg Spencer and Raymond Yeager. Justin Witcher's jumped them as well. I can see the live timing going, but Scott Rankin's still leading the way. He's got a 2-second lead over the rest of the field. He's still got to come in and serve his last pit stop. You can see there on the inside one of the Pinnacle Esports cars making their way back onto the circuit. Scott Rankin has a lapped car in front of him. Hopefully that's Quass, I believe, in the Doritos entry that we saw hit the wall earlier. Hopefully that doesn't hold up Scotty Rankin. He'll use his draft as much as he can, but Quass has just gone to the outside and said, there you go, Scott, you can go on through. So Scott Rankin, last time around, 30.92. Christopher Finlay, a 31.34. So Scott Rankin just put half a second on Christopher Finlay, and you can see there, Ryan, in your live timing, it is climbing, and it is climbing very, very quickly for Scott Rankin at the lead of this motor race.
Yeah, and I've doesn't look like Scott or Christopher have gone through the pits yet. It does look like someone maybe. Yeah,
yep, so Christopher Finlay and Ash Nessa have decided it's their time to come into pit lane. So the only driver not to come through pit lane at the moment is Scott Rankin. He last came through pit lane on lap 49. So going on that fuel strategy, we can probably expect him to come into pit lane in the next 2 laps, either this lap or the lap after. He's using more fuel now out the front. He's not going to come into pit lane this time around, so he'll go around another time, and we'll take lap 97 of 134 here for round number 10 of the RayWhite Royal Gayndah Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, right here on the Sim Esports Network. Scott Rankin, your leader. Christopher Finlay in pit lane. Gary Wellman's going to get that position once it all plays out. So this is the story of the race. He needs to beat Justin Witcher to take this to the final round next Sunday night. He's doing everything he can tonight, Ryan. He's leading the motor race at the moment, but will he have enough gap to break that draft and come out in front of Justin Witcher when he makes his way into pit lane? And we see him do that now. So this is what we want to watch, ladies and gentlemen. Your leader, Scott Rankin, in pit lane. When he makes his way through, we'll bring you his transition time as opposed to Justin Witcher. So keep in the back of your mind, Justin Witcher last through on lap 87, pit stop time of 31.55 seconds. Scott Rankin's going to come into his stall here and take his service. So we'll keep on board with him. We'll have a look at the live timing. You can see the tower where everyone's sitting at the moment. They're saying they're a lap down, but that's about to change because Scott Rankin didn't pit. So Gary Wellman is going to possibly take the lead of this motor race. We'll see what happens. So he's still in pit lane, 17, 18, 19, 20 seconds. We'll see whether he's quicker than Justin Witcher in this pit stop. This is the decisive, and it is. It's a 26.25 second pit stop for Scott Rankin. So what a pit stop there by Scott Rankin. It's going to put him out in the lead of this motor race, and in the lead of the motor race by quite a substantial margin. So strategy by Scott Rankin on point there, Ryan. What an absolute strategy called out by Scotty Rankin.
Yeah, and he actually has a, well, he's climbing down now, but he has pretty much a 3-second lead at the moment, which should go down as he's not going to be in the draft. And if he can hold on to this, onto first place tonight and get the win, he might be able to challenge Justin Witcher for next round.
Yeah, well, Justin Witcher currently in the 3rd position. He's got Gary Wellman just up the road from him as we have a look at that now. So there's Gary Wellman, and then a further 3 seconds down the road behind is Justin Witcher. But have a look at this. This is going to be the story of the night for the Pinnacle Esports guys. Justin Witcher and Greg Spencer, they're the only ones at the front at the moment that have a draft buddy. You can see Raymond Yeager ranging up onto the back as well. No, he's further 4 seconds down the road, I believe, from my live timing. So if these guys can work together, they're going to range up onto the back of the likes of Gary Wellman and Scott Rankin. So let's just keep one eye on the gap. At the moment, it's 2.9 seconds the gap between Gary Wellman and this battle of Justin Witcher and Greg Spencer. They're not going to battle too hard, but last lap around, Scott Rankin took another 2/10 out of all of them. So the draft not so much working as much as we would have thought. Christopher Finlay's caught up onto the back of this battle as well. So if these guys are smart 100 into 134, they can use each other's draft, and that's the only way they're going to try and bridge this gap between Gary Wellman and Scott Rankin at the front of this motor race, Ryan.
Yeah, that's correct. And yeah, he's still holding Scott Rankin's still holding a 2.7 second lead pretty well here. Yeah, it's starting to drop a bit now, but not too rapid. But yeah, with 32 laps to go to the end. Actually, 33. We could see anything happen here. There could be a safety car. There could be anything.
Yeah, and we've still got 11 cars on the lead lap, the last of that being the 5 of Andy Barber. So guys doing a great job. Ash Nessa's still on the lead lap. My live timing has just come back up. But no, now he's gone down again. So the live timing throwing me under the bus again. But on board with Andy Barber. He's right behind Nicholas Walsh here. There are lap cars involved in this one as well. I believe that could be Christopher Finlay. No, it's not Christopher Finlay. It is Nicholas Walsh in the black car. I'm just getting used to the new SimBoys driver lineups. But Andy Barber doing a good job. He got held up in some lap traffic. The gap at the front is still 2.7 seconds. But now's the time. We're going to go and we're going to bring Tristan Koch down into the broadcast booth. We're going to have a chat with Tristan and see how his night ended up. He's obviously out of this one quite a few laps down. We'll have a chat with him and see why he's out of the race. So we brought him down into the booth. Tristan Koch, mate, good to have you in the booth, mate. Usually used to having you in my ear well, I'm in a race, but in the booth, not the way you want to see the 550 end tonight. How'd that end up from your point of view, mate?
Hit Ruben really hard. Like I say, the space in front of the car just closed quickly, and that was it.
So we were actually wondering what happened with Ruben because he had no back end of the car, and it didn't actually come up as an incident on our live timing, so we didn't catch it on the broadcast. What exactly happened there? We saw Ruben's damage. We didn't see anything with you, just coming out of turn number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The gap closed quickly.
Ruben was down below, and I think he got pushed up high, and the gap between me and him closed, and I thought I could get between the wall and myself, and he came up even closer, and before you know it, I was in his boot.
Well, that's definitely not the way you wanted to end the night for the 550 of Tristan Koch. But Ryan, I'll let you have a chat with Tristan. I've been talking to everyone. I love the sound of my own voice. So have a chat with Tristan before we let him get back up there and keep driving, because he's still circulating. He's 3 laps down, trying to get some points there in the 550 Oreo livery.
Hey, Tristan, and yeah, it's been a bit unfortunate that this happened during the race and you're sitting 10 laps down, but however, there is one more round left. How are you feeling about going into the next round?
Oh, well, look, as Aiden mentioned, get some points and see what happens next week. Restart.
Yeah, that's all you can really do to really help you with your points loss, and I wish you luck for the rest of the season.
Sorry, I missed that one.
I was just mentioning that you just got to get as many points as you can now, and make the situation better, and hopefully in the next round you can secure a lot more points.
Absolutely, yeah.
No worries, Tristan. Well, we'll let you concentrate, mate. We know that you're mid-race trying to get those points, but unlucky. I know you want a better result there from the 550, but you're always out there, you're circulating in 14th position at the moment. We'll see how you end up, and no doubt we'll see you up at the pointy end for round number 11 next week.
Okay, thank you.
Well, there we go, Ryan. A little bit of a chat with Tristan Koch. Well, he was racing, but I'll tell you what, Gary Wellman, while we were just on board with Tristan, he's taken 2.7 seconds out of Scott Rankin.
And
this is a change for the lead of the motor race, and Gary Wellman takes the lead over Scott Rankin, so 109 into 134. The big Gary Wellman, the man that's no stranger to the podium here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. He's on point tonight. He's had a couple of wins this season. He's missed a couple of rounds, which puts him back in the standings due to some previous commitments. But John Class are on board now at the moment as well. So we can see those Pinnacle cars coming right up onto the back here at the moment behind John Class. That's why we've gone on board with this camera to show you these Pinnacle guys trying to make their way up to the lead of the motor race, trying to get to the back of the likes of Gary Wellman and Scott Rankin. They're currently now 5 seconds down on the lead, so they've got a long way back to go, but anything can happen here for the RayWhite Royal Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries. We're 110 into 134, ladies and gentlemen. It's about to spice up. It is Gary Wellman and Scott Rankin at the lead of the motor race over Greg Spencer and Justin Witcher, but Greg Spencer and Witcher just took half a second out of the lead, so you can see it there now. That's what a second looks like. So it was 3.5 seconds just 5 laps ago, but we've got Greg Spencer and Justin Witcher, your championship leader, ranging right up onto the back of Scott Rankin and Gary Wellman, who lead this motor race. So it's about to be a 4-way battle for the win here, Ryan. It's definitely heating up. It's going to be Pinnacle Esports versus Simboys versus Scott Rankin. Not even sure what Scott Rankin's team is, but it'll be Scott Rankin, the odd one out here. But we'll see how he goes. Is he going to have anything for Justin Witcher? Is he going to be able to fight the teamwork? Is he going to be able to take a couple of points out of Justin Witcher? But I tell you what, Gary Wellman's going to have something to say about this. And don't write off Greg Spencer. He'll want to win as well too there, Ryan. So this is going to heat up. We're 112 and 134, and now we've got a 4-way battle for the lead of the motor race.
Yeah, it's certainly getting really exciting at the back end of this race, and hopefully they can keep it off the wall and not cause any crashes, and they can actually have a really good result here.
Yeah, as you say that, we see Greg Spencer. He's not happy to sit behind Scott Rankin. He's gone, "Mate, I'm going forward." Justin, Christopher Finlay on the outside there. It's a 5-car battle for the lead of the motor race. So Christopher Finlay, he's just ranged up there without us even noticing. So the other Sim Boys entry, the 104, Christopher Finlay, haven't spoken about him a lot tonight, but just there, he's just ranged up onto the back of the battle. So it's Pinnacle Esports 2 cars, Sim Boys 2 cars, Scott Rankin, the piggy in the middle. Is he going to have the racecraft to get this job done? I'm not sure about that, as Greg Spencer and Justin Witcher try and make the move on the high line. They're going to get a big run down the back straight here at Las Vegas and try and make the lead, move for the lead of the motor race as they make their way through turns 3 and 4 as there's nearly contact between Scott Rankin and Justin Witcher. Tell you what, there'll be no love lost between these two guys in the last 20 laps of this one, Ryan. But these Pinnacle Esports cars, they've had good strategy. They knew that they could get that 4 or 5 seconds back if they worked together. But I tell you what, it's gloves off now. Everything out the window. 20 to go. Who's going to take the win?
Yeah, it could be any of these 5 people, you know, like pit stops are done and dusted, tyre changes are done and dusted. But yeah, there could be anything that happens in the last 15 minutes.
We've got contact there between Greg Spencer and Gary Wellman. That was very good driving by both of those drivers not to have a massive incident. Sorry to cut you off, Ryan, but this is spicing up. We're about to go 3 wide into turns number 1 and 2. Justin Witcher trying to get that high line run. He's tried to come down a little bit there. He realised that Scott Rankin was there. Scott Rankin's going to jump up and jump in front of him and try and cover off that. Have a look at this run by Scott Rankin now. He's got the push. He's going to use the outside line as Christopher Finlay makes it 3 wide into turn number 3 and 4. Does a good job and backs out of that one. I tell you what, I thought my heart was in my mouth there. I thought Christopher Finlay was going to get right into the back of Justin Witcher, but now Justin Witcher is getting a run. He's going to try and push Greg Spencer on the outside as there's contact down the main straight, but now it's Sim Boys on the inside and Pinnacle Esports on the outside. I reckon I want to be Scott Rankin at the moment, just sit in behind there and watch this happen and unfold, because we're 117 into 134, a 5-car battle for the lead of this motor race. I told you, Ryan, told you it was the calm before the storm and it was about to heat up, and this is exactly what we're seeing here for round 10 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, they're going really fast and the tyres look like they're sliding a lot now because they're really worn. And yeah, I'm actually really enjoying watching this. They're getting really close, door to door. Yeah, see how this goes.
Yeah, we definitely will. Scott Rankin just dropping off a little bit there in the background. I'd suggest he's just rolling out of it a little bit, just trying to save a bit of tyre, just staying in that draft, trying to cool everything down. And don't be surprised we see Scott Rankin come back up in this race and have a little bit of a challenge at the end. But we'll see whether that is him actually doing that or he's just struggling with a little bit of pace. He should be all right. His last time through pit lane was on lap 97, so he should have the better tyres, but his strategy was different earlier on. So we'll see how that goes. But we're 119 into 134. Oh, as Justin gives Greg Spencer a big push there into turn number 3 and 4. They've got to be very careful as there's nearly contact between Gary Wellman and Greg Spencer. How close are they getting, Ryan? Oh my God. I'm just waiting for the big one, Ryan. I'm waiting for the big one. It's going to happen.
Yeah, this is a really big battle here. I feel a crash coming. Let's just hope that Scott Rankin isn't involved and he can actually take the win.
Well, we don't have any favourites here on the IndySim Esports Network, but for the benefit of viewing, I'm secretly hoping Scotty Rankin gets at least the position or 2 over Justin Witcher to make it a little bit of a fight heading into the 11th round next week here on the IndySim Esports Network. Scott Rankin in a prime position to take advantage if anything goes wrong here. And I'll tell you what, Justin Witcher getting very close to Greg, pushing really, really hard. They've got to be very careful because that can come unstuck really, really quickly. Those Sim Boys cars on the inside are doing the exact same thing. That's Gary Wellman and Christopher Finlay. They're not quite running as hard and as close to each other. Christopher Finlay just sitting off the back of Gary Wellman on that inside line. It looks like the outside line, you're having to push a lot harder as they make their way down through the tri-oval section at Las Vegas. Not really a tri-oval, but I'll call it that for the sake of tonight. But it's now 122 into 134. We're nearly under 10 laps to go, and it is a 5-car battle for the lead. Gary Wellman, Greg Spencer, Justin Witcher, Christopher Finlay, and Scott Rankin. 6 seconds down the road, Raymond Yeager in the 6th position. Lachlan Capel in the 7th position, but you don't want to take your eyes off this battle. And there it is, there's the big stand. Gary Wellman and Greg Spencer. Justin Witcher's just helped Gary Wellman, and we're going to go caution here. We've got 123 laps into 134. and we go caution for the first time tonight here for the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries. I tell you what, Christopher Finlay will be looking in his mirror and going, sucks that my teammate just had an incident there, but I'm damage-free. Oh, as the pace car nearly takes out Scotty Rankin down the back straight. But tell you what, Justin Witcher had a bit of contact there with his teammate Greg Spencer and helped Gary Wellman around a little bit when Gary was already gone. But let's go back to the instant replay and see what happened. So it looks like that Gary just got a little bit loose there on the inside, come up into Greg Spencer. Greg's into the wall. Gary's going to come off the wall and try and save it. Justin's in behind and Justin tags him. So Justin spins him while they're in a straight line. So that's Gary Wellman gone. So there's a bit of damage. Scott Rankin's thinking all his Christmases have come at once in the background. He did a good job to avoid all that. Gary Wellman's going to do a 360 and keep it going. Good driving there by Gary Wellman. Kept it off the wall. Tell you what, his tyres will be hurting after that one. But the one that came out worse off on that one, Gregory Spencer, Mr. Greg Spencer. He was having such a good run, and he's going to have a little bit of a damaged car after that one.
Yeah, there was actually a pretty hefty impact with the wall there. Hopefully there's not too much damage. But, yeah, this is going to make the end of the race really exciting. And, yeah, this is going to be fun.
Definitely will. But you know who that brings back into the race as well is
Andy Barber.
Your father, Andy Barber. He's in pit lane at the moment. So he's obviously either getting tyres, he had them saved up, or getting some fuel, or getting some damage repaired. So he'll just stay on the lead lap. But I tell you what, it's going to be interesting the end of here. Christopher Finlay damage-free at the front. We've got Justin Witcher, your championship leader, in second. I'm sure he's got a little bit of damage. Can't quite see it there on the screen, but I'm sure he's got a tiny bit of damage there on the number one car. Scott Rankin damage-free there in third. Gary Wellman, he's going to be pretty much damage-free, but his tyres are going to be hurting. He's in fourth. We can't see any damage on the Justin Witcher car you can see there, so he got away with that one. That's he definitely got away with that one. That's a little bit of champion luck there, Ryan, after that little bit of an incident, I'd suggest. So we'll see how we go. We're under yellow, but anyway, it's time. Well, we're under yellow and we're about to bring you the last 10 laps. Let's get our last trivia question in. Let's get our last trivia question in before we go green and crown you the round number 10 champion here for the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries. Ryan, go. What's your question?
All right, so Las Vegas Motor Speedway has had a few categories racing on the circuit, but what was the first?
So what was the first racing category to race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, there's your question. What was the first racing category to race on Las Vegas Motor Speedway? So obviously I've got to answer that one first, Ryan. So I've got no idea, as per usual. Paul, you've got to answer this too when you come in. And no Googling. First category at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, I would have to say IndyCar is my answer. I know I'm wrong, but I'm going to say IndyCar.
All right, Paul, what's your answer?
We'll go ARCA cars.
All right, I guess we should let the viewers have a bit of time before the answer's given.
Yeah, well, we're still under caution. The pace car lights are still on. We'll see if they stay on when they make their way across the strike this time. 126 laps this time across the strike. So definitely coming down to the business end. But yeah, viewers, let us know what was the first category to run. And the pace car lights are off by the looks of it. So Ryan, we might actually just get you to give us the answer because we're about to go green for the end. So I've chosen IndyCar. I know I'm wrong. Paul's chosen the ARCA car. What was the first category to run around Las Vegas Motor Speedway?
Well, Aidan, you're actually correct. IndyCar did run for the first category at Las Vegas.
See, not just all good looks. I got something right. Las Vegas, IndyCar. There you go. And I didn't even Google it, so who would have thought?
You're still about 1,000 points behind me, though.
Yeah, and Paul's in my ear, 1,000 points behind him, he reckons. But we've probably got another 3,000 to gain on JCW, just saying. But anyway, we're about to go green here for round number 10 for the second time tonight. We've only had one caution period. It's just been that with the incident between Gary Wellman, Justin Witcher and Greg Spencer. It will be Christopher Finlay leading us to the green. Justin Witcher on the outside of the front row. Gotti Rankin on the inside in third. Gary Wellman with that damage on the outside. Then it'll be Raymond Yeager, Lachlan Capel, Maxfield, Matson, Barber. We're about to go green. It could be anyone's. Don't turn your dial from the Indosim Esports Network because it's about to get crazy for the final 8 laps here for round number 10. And we're green. Christopher Finlay jumps early. He gets a good jump. So does Scott Rankin there on the inside of the second row. He's going to make the move up the inside of Justin Witcher as they make their way down into turn number 1 and 2 once again. Scott Rankin up the inside of Justin Witcher. Oh, as they're getting really squirrely around. Scott Rankin wanting to make the move there on Christopher Finlay. So there's no holding station here. It's on for the lead. Justin Witcher giving Scott Rankin a big push into turn number 3 and 4. But Gary Wellman in behind Christopher Finlay. Oh, it's Justin Witcher. And Scotty saved it. What a save by Scott Rankin to keep it off the wall. And we're still green here at Las Vegas. How did that not end in absolute carnage? Justin Witcher, I tell you what, no holds barred there by your championship leader. A big lick into the back of Scott Rankin. There'll be something to say about that post-race. But Christopher Finlay and Gary Wellman, they're licking their lips. They're going, yep, we're going to the front. Lockie Capel, have a look at Lachlan Capel in the 018. He hasn't been anywhere tonight, and he's now into P3. He makes the move on Justin Witcher. So don't write off the 018 of Lachlan Capel as he's going to range up onto the back of the lead of this motor race. 129 into 134. Really got to watch. Justin's being really racy here, trying to push really hard. Look who's in 5th position, ladies and gentlemen. Raymond Yeager. He's back up there as well. Scott Rankin's in the background. We can see everyone in the background trying to chase up, but here's your 5-car battle. Justin Witcher's going to get a push from his teammate there on the outside to try and push him to the lead of the motor race. Gary Wellman's going to block him off and allow Christopher Finlay to try and get a run. So don't be surprised if this ends in tears. Lachlan Capel getting a run on the inside into turns number 1 and 2 this time around. Yet Gary Wellman's playing the teammate here. Excuse me, I'm getting too excited. Trying to block him off. But now Gary Wellman's going to be hung out to dry on the outside as they make their way down the back straight. 130 of 134. Justin Witcher on the inside of Gary Wellman. Lachlan Capel in 2nd position, chasing down Christopher Finlay. Tell you what, there's nearly contact there with Gary Wellman. There's no love lost between those two drivers, ladies and gentlemen. I thought Justin Witcher and Darren McKenzie have a little bit of history. Tell you what, there's no love loss or lack of history between Gary Wellman and Justin Witcher as well. So Justin Witcher's lost the run. That's allowing Scott Rankin to get a run. Have a look at this run. Look who's coming in the background too, Ryan. Andy Barber back there in the 9th position. It's anyone's. Andy Barber making a good run in the background there. Pete Matson's a part of this as well. I tell you what, this time across the strike, we're taking 132 into 134. Who's it going to be? We're going 3 wide shortly, ladies and gentlemen. That's a given. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen now. We'll make their way through turns number 1 and 2. It's still Christopher Finlay leading the way, but Ryan, I tell you what, you can't shut me up. I'll let you jump in. 132 into 134. How good is this?
Oh, this is amazing. It's exciting just watching all of the door banging and how hard they're driving, but there hasn't really been much contact whatsoever, but they will be going 3 wide very soon within the next lap. So, and Andy Barber's actually having a look at the inside. Who his top 5 might actually come. Let's just wait and see, touching wood, as he's coming next to Justin Witcher.
Yep, time will tell, and here it is, 3 wide down the back straight for the second last time, ladies and gentlemen. It's Finlay, Wellman and Capel, 3 wide for the lead of the motor race. Gary Wellman just sitting on that inside. He's playing shotgun for Christopher Finlay. So Raymond Yeager trying to get that outside line to work. He's got Justin Witcher behind him with Scotty Rankin. Gary Wellman's playing shotgun. Christopher Finlay's in the box seat here. We're white flag, 1 to go. Who's it going to be? Lachlan Capel, is he going to be able to make a move from that inside line? Is Christopher Finlay going to hold on with the draft? Is Gary Wellman going to drive around the outside with the help of the Pinnacle guys? But no, they're not going to help Gary. No way at all. We're 3 wide into turn number 3 and 4 for the last time. Who's it going to be? There's contact. There's big contact. Andy Barber's got the run on the inside. Gary Wellman on the outside. We've gone across the line. Lachlan Capel and, it's so close. Lachlan Capel. Christopher Finlay gets the job done. Over Lachlan Capel and Gary Wellman in the 3rd position. Andy Barber from nowhere comes home in the 4th position. Raymond Yeager in 5th. Oh my God. I tell you what, there weren't many cars on the lead lap at the end of that one, guys, but it definitely did not disappoint.
Yeah, that was a crazy finish. And yeah, after the checkered flag, there were more crashing too, and actually spotted Dad actually sideways trying to catch a drift, and I actually think that looked so cool. But he got the top 5 that he wanted, and Christopher Finlay actually came out on top.
Yeah, and it's the first time we've seen the 104 of Christopher Finlay in the winner's circle here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, I believe. He's had a little bit of rough luck, doesn't join every race, but good to see the 104 Simboys Racing entry up at the front of that. But Lachlan Capel, a good run by him as well, and Gary Wellman. So Christopher Finlay doing his celebratory donuts here for the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries. So good night, but thanks for joining me in the booth, Ryan. You did a great job tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed that here on the InterSim Esports Network. We're just about to go into the post-race festivities when Christopher Finlay finishes doing his celebratory donuts. So we'll be sure to bring you all the drivers up, or the top 3 drivers up, and have a chat to them after round 10 of the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries. So we'll just quickly go back to the instant replay of that final lap, or final corner, and see what happened. We're on board with Andy Barber. So Andy going into the last lap, you can see him sitting here in about 9th position. Have a look at how close all this is. Cars wiggling everywhere, going everywhere. Andy ends up finishing 4th in this, so we'll see what it looks like on board with the number 5 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry as they make their way down the back stretch. There's nowhere to go. You're boxed in at the moment. There we go, there's the touch, and he's gone, see ya, I'm on the inside, Wellman's up the outside. Wellman did a good job to keep it off the outside wall there as Justin Witcher was on the outside. And here's the finish in front, and there's contact everywhere, no love loss, and that's all she wrote. Christopher Finlay, your winner. But have a look at that.
Yeah, that's crazy scene. And then, yeah, I was watching Dad get tagged here and actually did a little bit of a drift, but yeah, he's done well, and he was there pretty much most of the race, and just stayed undamaged, and yeah, got his top 5 that he would have wanted to get.
Most definitely. But we'll go through your final results here for round number 10 of the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries. Your winner tonight was Christopher Finlay. In second place, Lachlan Capel and Gary Wellman rounds out your top 3. Raymond Yeager finished in the 4th position. There must have been post-race penalties here. Raymond Yeager in the 4th position. Nicholas Walsh in 5th. Scott Rankin in 6th. Todd Maxfield in 7th. Pete Matson in 8th. Ash Nessa in 9th. Justin Witcher rounded out your 10. So the championship battle heads on to round number 11 next week. Andy Barber in the 11th position. Greg Spencer in 12th. John Quass in 13th. Tristan Koch in 14th. Aaron Dillon, 15th, Brett Campbell 16th, Nigel Payton in 17th, Ruben Phelps in 18th, and rounding out your 19 drivers tonight was Adam Malone. So we'll go up, we'll bring the drivers up into the broadcast booth and have a chat with them. So we'll bring them up now. I'll just do that if we bear with me, ladies and gentlemen.
G'day, how are we?
So we've got the drivers up into the broadcast booth. I tell you what, boys, that was a finish and a half. It was we were expecting a little bit. It went green for most of it, one caution, but it was definitely a good race. Gary, we'll start with you, mate. P3 tonight. You're riding shotgun there for Chris for the final 10 or 15 laps, trying to stop those Pinnacle guys get a run. Bit of an incident there with Justin Witcher, but kept the car just straight enough to be able to battle for the end and held on for a P3, mate. So I tell you what, that was some good racing to watch.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Yeah, kept it off the wall, and yeah, it was good racing. Bit of rubbing there, and a bit of fun. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Well, mate, another podium, no stranger to the InterSim Esports Network booth to have a chat. Couple of wins this season. Obviously, you missed a couple of rounds for some personal things that you had all previously done. But mate, if you would have run all rounds, I bet you would have been up there to try and challenge Justin for the championship this year.
Yeah, I would have been giving him a bit of a run for his money, I reckon. But yeah, no, like I said once before, a bit of consistency, which I'm happy with. Yeah, good couple of podiums, and yeah, no, it's just had a good season really.
Well, mate, we've also noticed you've had a couple of new recruits for the Sim Boys racing entries. We saw that tonight. I know prior to Christmas, I think Todd Maxfield came across, and now we saw Nicholas Walsh running the liveries as well. So Sim Boys expanding a little bit.
Yeah, a few more Tassie boys, Toddy and Walshy. So yeah, good to get them on board and liven us up the Discord chat a bit in the racing. So yeah, they're good dudes, and we enjoy hanging out and getting amongst it.
Well, mate, we won't keep you any longer, and I know what your answer is going to be to this because I've spoken to you several times, but of course, a shout out to everyone involved with your P3 tonight, mate.
Oh, yeah, just you boys again, mate. Yeah, good series, good broadcast. We enjoy it every week. Yeah, Sim Boys, well done, Chris, for the win. Lachlan for second, that was a good drive, and it was a good night. Cheers.
No worries, mate. Congratulations once again. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Your third place getter for what was round 10 of the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. It was the 45 Sim Boys entry of Gary Wellman. That moves us across to the second place getter tonight. Lockie Capel, Lachlan, mate, weren't really anywhere through the midsection of the race. Bet you love seeing that yellow come out, but I tell you what, good drive at the end, mate. Just lost P1 by a smidgen.
Yeah, just I had the pace for Collie, but I got my new sequential shifter today, and I've been trying that out, and I ran this first race of it, and I just couldn't figure out the fifth and sixth gear in terms of the drafting gear and the not drafting gear. So I think I played it too safe early on and tried to hit sixth and just set there, but didn't work out, and I realized that I could use a lot more of the tire that I actually needed to. So didn't have a great start, had a bit of a terrible pit stop, and then clawed my way back by making an alternate pit strategy by pitting just as my fuel window came on, grabbed the tires and came out basically next to the lead pack, and I sat with Raymond there for a little bit, and then I was actually quite annoyed when the yellow came out because I was actually enjoying my battle with Raymond a little bit too much, and then I realized, I actually might have a chance for the win here, considering after the little bump and running that Scott got pushed out the way by what we had a look at was about a foot of net code. It was basically the entire car plus more of that. So just used bump drafted Finlay all the way, and then just had to go for it at the end. Wasn't enough, but it was a good try.
Well, sitting on the inside of that second lane with a lap to go, did you feel like you were going to get boxed in a little bit? Because obviously there was a bit of an incident between Gary and I'm not sure who was behind him on the outside line, but a little bit of an incident there which allowed to sort of free you up to have a run at the end there on Chris. But did you feel like you were a little bit boxed in on that last lap and pretty much going to have to settle for a podium somewhere and see where it ended up?
I was actually really wanting to get a podium, so I was just trying to make sure I could get that top three because I knew Raymond was trying to lurk around the outside, nearly try and take it 3 wide coming into the final lap, and I was trying to time it right. But once they crashed, I was like, okay, it's on between me and Finn, so I had a good chance. But it was a little bit boxed in, I admit, but I'm used to doing 3-4 wide in Daytona and Talladega, so it's nothing new.
Well, mate, good job anyway on your P2. Very quick on the road courses, very quick in everything you drive, actually. So no surprise to see you up here for P2 tonight for round number 10 of the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Of course, a big shout out to all those sponsors, everyone involved for your P2 tonight.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Pulse Racing Team, Century Batteries Lismore, and Computer Technology Corporation for sponsoring me in my sim racing journey.
No worries at all, mate. Well said. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Your second place getter tonight, it was the 018 of Lachlan Capel. But it moves us straight across to your winner. First time here in the broadcast booth in the Big W with the Chockies. We've taken Justin Witcher's name off the chair. We've taken Gary Wellman's name off the chair. And we've now put Christopher Finlay on the back of our deck chair. Christopher Finlay, mate, great job. Finally got the W for the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been a bit of a hit and miss series for me this time around. I was a bit more consistent last time, but just haven't made the races this year.
Yeah, sometimes life gets in the way of our sim world, but mate, always quick, always up there. You're quick on the road. You had a little bit of bad luck when we went to Daytona, and this series sometimes it's a great series, but sometimes luck can play a part of it. But you kept yourself out of the rubbish tonight, and you did everything to get the P1. Gary was running shotgun there for you late on in that race, trying to keep those Pinnacle Esports guys away from you. But great run. Obviously, you would have liked to see some of the other Sim Boys cars up the front. Aaron Dillon was out early in this one. Just give us a bit of an insight. What happened to Aaron? We didn't see that on the broadcast on why he was out of the race.
Oh, I think he might have just cooked his tyres a little bit too much, and then once they went, he just kept dropping off the back and then decided to put it in the pits.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But anyway, you did a good job, mate. Great job for your P1. Bet you're looking forward going into, I know it's the final round, you're out of contention for the championship, but bet you're looking forward to round number 11 next week and going in with a head full of steam.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't do too well at Indy last time, so hopefully this week can be a bit more of an improvement.
Yeah, well, it is the big Indy 300, I believe, next week. The big one, the big show. Last year, we saw it come down to, I think, 0.001 of a second between Stephen Williams and your teammate, Cade Donnelly, which we didn't have the pleasure of having in the server tonight. I'm sure you're expecting much of the same heading into Indianapolis next week.
Yeah, just hopefully we can keep a couple of nice, clean cars out there and be contending at the end of, 160 laps?
Yeah, most definitely, mate. But we'll let you go, mate. Go and debrief with all the boys down there in Tassie, mate. Big congratulations on your P1 tonight. Of course, your shout out to sponsors, anyone involved with your P1.
I'm just going to shout out to the Sim Boys. It's that Friday night shed session. It's kind of kept us all sane through COVID, so it's been really good.
Well, nice and short and sweet, mate. That's the way we like it. Friday night shed session in the sim with a couple of quiet waters. There's nothing wrong with that, mate. But big congratulations on your P1 tonight. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner for round number 10 of the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries. It was the 104 of Christopher Finlay. That does bring us to the end of the broadcast. But Ryan, I'll jump in here, mate. First time in the broadcast booth, first time witnessing what it's like behind the scenes. Tell you what, you couldn't have found a better race to come and broadcast. How do you find it, mate?
Yeah, it's my first time broadcasting for it. So at the start, it was pretty nerve-wracking. And as the broadcast went through, I actually got a bit more comfortable. But the action was really fun to watch, and commentating is something that I enjoyed doing for tonight. And hopefully sometime I can do it again.
More than welcome anytime, mate. It was great to have you up in the booth, and you did a great job, and everyone tuning in here on the Indasim Esports Network would second that one, I would suggest as well. But that brings you to the end of round number 10 of the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries here on the Indasim Esports Network from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Your winner again was Christopher Finlay. Lachlan Capel coming home in second place, and Gary Wellman rounding out your third place tonight. It all doesn't stop here on the Indasim Esports Network tonight. We do go live again next week on Tuesday night. We will be bringing you Wednesday night, rather. We'll be bringing you the next round of the MSR TCR League. Your location is Imola. We go from the famous Phillip Island last week to Imola this week. So we're looking forward to bringing you all the action here on the Indasim Esports Network. We will go live from approximately 6:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you may be. But then we're back here next Sunday night for what will be the final round of the RayWhite Rural Gayndah Australasian Supercar eSeries Season number 2. It's the big one, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 160 laps. Be sure to join us for this one. The championship battle still ranges heading into the final round. Scotty Rankin got a couple of points back on your reigning champion and championship leader, Justin Witcher. So who will it be? Be sure to tune in here on the Indasim Esports Network. Next Sunday, same time, same place. We'll be live from approximately 6:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you may be. But from myself, Paul, everyone at the Indasim Esports Network, and Ryan Barber for jumping into the broadcast booth, we thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you for the MSR TCR League on Wednesday night.